That number used to mean something. You hit 6 figures. You did everything right. You saved, you sacrificed, you waited, and it still doesn't feel like enough. Here is why. Your $100,000 isn't sitting still. It's leaking right now, while you sleep, while you work, while you watch this video. And your bank, the one sending you cheerful emails about your 4% high yield return, is the one holding the bucket underneath. Stop. Look at the real math. Real inflation in 2026, 6%. The hidden banking spread, what your bank earns versus what it pays you, 3%. The opportunity cost of not being in productive assets, 2%. You aren't earning 4%. You are losing 11% of your real purchasing power every single year. Your bank isn't your vault. It is a processing plant. And your $100,000, every dollar of it is the raw material. And here is the open loop you need to hold. There is an exit clause, a specific mathematical move the top 1% use to bypass the 11% drain entirely. I'll show you the exact numbers at the 6-minute mark. But first, you need to understand why $100,000 stopped feeling rich. Because the answer isn't inflation. It isn't lifestyle. It is a mathematical inversion that happened while everyone was playing by the old rules. In 1975, the rules made sense. Save 10%, buy a house, let compound interest work, retire with dignity. That math was real. It was tested. It worked. But here is the number that cracked the foundation. In 1975, the U.S. debt to GDP ratio was 35%. In 2026, it is over 120%. When a government's debt exceeds its GDP, it cannot afford high interest rates, so it suppresses them. It keeps your savings rate artificially low, and it lets inflation quietly eat the real value of its debt. You are not a citizen in this equation. You are the mechanism. Your saved dollars, devalued by inflation, are the tool the system uses to reduce a debt you didn't create. This is why $100,000 doesn't feel like $100,000 anymore. The old rule said, save more, get safer. The 2026 math says, save more, fall faster. The rules didn't just change, they flipped. And most people are still playing the 1975 game in a 2026 world, wondering why the math stopped working.
Let's run the real numbers, not the bank's numbers, the actual math. Layer 1, real inflation, 6%. The CPI number is not the inflation you live. Food, rent, insurance, energy, the things your $100,000 has to compete with are rising faster than any headline figure. Year 1, your $100,000 buys what $94,000 bought last year. Layer 2, the banking spread, 3%. Your high-yield account pays you 4%. Your bank lends your money at 7% and above. Credit cards, 24%. The spread between what they pay you and what they earn is called the net interest margin. On $100,000, that quiet transfer is $3,000 per year. No line item, no signature, no consent. Your bank account isn't a safety net. It is a subscription service you never signed up for, and the 11% is the annual fee. Layer 3, the opportunity tax, 2%. This one never appears anywhere. While your $100,000 earned 4%, broad index funds returned 10%. Growth real estate returned 8 to 12%. Certain commodities returned 15%. The 2% is the conservative floor of what you surrendered by staying safe. Now watch what this costs at scale. $100,000 at an 11% annual real drain. After 10 years of doing everything right, saving, not panicking, staying responsible, $31,167. You didn't make a single bad decision. You just trusted the wrong math. And here is the dimension nobody talks about. We call it time theft. 1 year of full-time work in 2026 generates the real economic output of 1/3 of a year in 2020 dollars. The drain doesn't just steal your money,
it steals the years behind it.
Here is the math the processing plant does not want you to run. There are two worlds in 2026. Soft math, cash, savings accounts, bonds, CDs. These live inside the inversion trap. The 11% drain applies to all of them, every single one. Hard math, assets that cannot be printed, productive real estate, business equity generating real cash flow, commodities, inflation-indexed instruments. These exist outside the drain. They don't get destroyed by inflation. They absorb it. Now watch the contrast. $100,000 in the soft math quadrant, 11% annual drain, 10 years. Real value remaining, $31,167. $1,000 in a hard math asset, compounding at 15% annually, 10 years. Real value, $4,045. $1,000 correctly positioned produces more real value than $100,000 in the wrong quadrant by a factor of 13. This is not a loophole. This is not a trick. This is a mathematical principle that has always been available. It was just never put on your syllabus. The top 1% didn't stumble into this. They were taught it, specifically, systematically, while institutions told everyone else to save more and stay safe. The exit clause is the quadrant shift, moving capital deliberately, legally, methodically from assets the system can drain to assets the system cannot touch. The inversion doesn't break the person who understands both quadrants. It only breaks the person who stays in one. $100,000 doesn't feel rich anymore because it isn't. Not in real value terms. Not in 2026. Not because you spent too much. Not because you didn't work hard enough. Because the math changed and nobody sent you the update. You cannot save your way out of a mathematical inversion. You have to math your way out. Stop asking, how do I save more? Start asking, which quadrant does this dollar go into? The system is counting on you to stay safe. It is counting on your savings instinct to keep you in this soft math quadrant, where the 11% drain runs silently, year after year, until there is nothing left to harvest. Prove them wrong. And if you want to understand the psychological architecture that keeps people locked inside lifestyle traps, even after they understand the math, your next video is ready. It is called the 2026 Psychological Trap. It is the exact mechanism that stops people from making the quadrant shift even when they know they should. Watch it now. The math doesn't lie. The only question is whether you're finally ready to run it.